Joining us for The Secret to Holiday Weight Loss. I am Bridget McGrath. This is David Kumpe. We're from Elevated Fitness. We are the first carbon neutral gym in the United States. We power our gym through generator equipped spin bikes, and so we produce more electricity than we use. And
you may be wondering, who are we that you should even listen to us? We're just two people off the street. No, we're actually both certified strength and conditioning specialists. We've both been training people and working with people in the fitness industry and with nutrition for over 15 years each. We have a whole list of certifications and fun stuff like that, sciencey acronyms that basically say we know what we're doing. We both lived and worked in Los Angeles for many years, doing celebrity training type stuff, working with strength and conditioning, assistant strength and conditioning coach for professional sports teams. Bridget was a competitive swimmer. We had a lot of success working in Los Angeles in the training community, but then we wanted to move up to Tahoe and start our own business, and that's what we did 2 years ago.
And bring something ecologically cutting edge, really, to Lake Tahoe, and bring a gym, just a better way to do it, so that we could kind of show an example of leaving things better than we found it.
So a little bit more about Elevated Fitness. As Bridget said, we have generator-equipped bikes so when you're pedaling, you're actually producing power. So you're getting a great workout and lowering your carbon footprint at the exact same time. Pretty darn cool. We do strength classes, conditioning classes, utilizing innovative and dynamic pieces of equipment. So no machines, no treadmills, nothing like that. Things like sandbags and suspension training and slosh pipes and ropes and fun stuff like that.
And we constructed the entire gym with having as low of a carbon footprint as possible. So all of our equipment, we used reclaimed steel, recycled rubber tires, low VOC paint. We were just really looking to make as ecologically sound of a facility as possible.
Just the idea of leave it better than we found it is what we approached with the business model.
Yeah.
So what we'll be covering today is first off, some tips for smart holiday eating without having to diet. First off, we hate the word diet. No one should ever be on a diet. You should just have a healthy eating lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle in general. Diets don't work. Most of them tend to be extremely unhealthy. So we're just all about making good, smart choices as a whole, and then having that carry you through both your regular life and then once the holidays come around, having things in place so that you don't get the weight gain that most people do.
We're going to show a few examples of things that you should be eating when you go out to eat, or when you're ordering at a restaurant or something. Just a little bit of a few quick ideas that you can keep in mind to keep it simple on what you should order and what you should avoid.
Especially since during the holidays, people do tend to eat out a whole lot. Mm-hmm. We then will be talking about some tricks for handling holiday stress. That's where a lot of weight gain comes from, is just the stress of the holidays, family stress, shopping stress, all these different ones like that. So we'll be talking about some tips to handle that.
Dave will be taking us through some quick workouts that you could do in your hotel room, that you could do in your bedroom, you could do in Grammy's guest room while you're staying there. It'll all be good stuff that you can do body weight or implements that you'd find just around the house or in your hotel room.
We also will be showing you guys some innovative exercise implements that we use at Elevated Fitness. These are low cost. You can take them anywhere. You can do a bunch of stuff with them. Again, whether all you have is a little hotel room or a wide open field, a parking lot, wherever you're at, you can use these things. They're really effective, really fantastic. So we'll show you some of those good little pieces that we use.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
So first we're going to talk about what is smart eating. And we broke it down to make it really simple for you. First of all, size. Concentrate on your portion size. Basically, if your portion is larger than the size of the palm of your hand, it's too big. The only exception to that is vegetables. So vegetables can be, of course, the size of 2 hands. Everything else, size of your palm or smaller. Also, you want to concentrate on a mix of your foods. So if you're thinking of your meal in terms of color, if you're getting as much of a color spectrum as possible, then you're guaranteeing that you're getting a wide nutrition base and you're getting a spectrum of vitamin intrusion. No, this is the wrong word that I'm using. Basically, you're getting a really good vitamin spectrum by having as colorful of a meal as possible.
And colors that are found in nature.
Yeah.
You know, if it's
no fuchsia.
If it's bright blue, and it's not a blueberry, that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
So especially around the holidays when things get colors they shouldn't, you may want to be careful of those.
And also we'll be talking about availability of food. Basically, what we're thinking of here is if you can get as locally grown, fewer pesticides, lower carbon footprint on the transport of the food to you. You're looking for organic meats that are grass-fed, no hormones, no steroids, no antibiotics. As clean of a food source as possible, it's just better for you, it's better for the planet. We also want to recognize that food is fuel. If you go in looking at food as fuel, then you'll have a little bit more of just a common sense approach to eating. So we like to think of it and break it down into an 80-20 rule. If 80% of your food is looked at as fuel and you're looking at it as purely a nutrition source and 20% of it is indulgent, then you're going to keep yourself on a really sensible eating plan. Now, don't let that 20 go to 40 before you know it. You really want to stick to the 80-20 rule where 20 is indulgent and 80% is nutritious.
Basically think clean 8% of the time, the other 20% of the time, go nuts.
Go nuts. And then lastly, if you think of it as timing, in it always having a steady interval of eating and never having any large lapse of like 5 to 6 hours where you haven't eaten, what you'll avoid there is what's called metabolic stasis, where when you stopped eating, your body goes into starvation mode and it's thinking to himself, I don't know when I'm going to get my next meal, so I'm going to hold on to as much body fat as possible. And this is something that we don't want to happen. We want to keep our engine revving as smoothly as possible. So if you keep eating small meals throughout the day, you'll never overload your blood sugar and you'll never enter into a metabolic stasis mode. You'll keep your thermogenic rate, which is basically the rate at which you burn calories, or like how hot your furnace is running. You'll keep that steady all throughout the day.
We're also talking about portion sizes. Eating the smaller meals throughout the day will help you control those portion sizes. When you go long periods of time without eating, when you do want to eat, you're really, really hungry, you're going to probably eat a little bit more.
Gorge.
By having, a sensible meal, snack a little bit later, a couple hours later, a couple hours after that, when you eat again, you're not as hungry. It's a lot easier to control those portion sizes.
So let's talk about setting a goal and sticking to it. A goal should be reasonable. If you're looking in fashion magazines and you're saying to yourself, I want to look like the guy who's got the 8-pack, recognize that his 8-pack is due to his being a full-time job as a fitness model. He's spending 2 to 3 hours in the gym. He is eating absolutely nothing that's at all considered the 20% of indulgence. And he's probably airbrushed. So this is not necessarily...
Crazy Photoshop.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Not necessarily a reasonable goal. So recognize that if you can't spend full-time dieting and exercising, be easy on yourself. Pick something that's reasonable. Pick something that you can be happy with. And at the holidays, what we recommend as a good goal is just to maintain. Average weight gain during the holidays is 5 to 7 pounds, and before you know it, 3 years later, you can be 21 pounds heavier, all of body fat. And this is not somewhere that you want to be, where you're always playing catch up, where you gain weight during the holidays and then you're going into like mad dash trying to lose it for bikini season or swim trunk season, and you're always trying to like avoid this cycle. To avoid the cycle, simply don't gain the 5 to 7 pounds, maintain, pick that really reasonable goal, and keep that in mind throughout. So all throughout the holidays, you're going to keep yourself on track, and no one's going to derail you because you've taken responsibility for everything that you put in your mouth. And now let's talk about emotional or stress eating. As you can see, she's just surrounded by a cornucopia of offerings. She's emotional.
Stressed.
She's stressed. But then who doesn't get emotional or stressed during the holidays? A lot of times what leads to stress during the holidays is that you'll approach it with high expectations. This will be the year that I'm not going to get in a fight with Aunt Joan or whoever. She's not going to ask me when am I going to have kids or when am I going to get married. This is the year that it's all going to be great. Don't go in with those expectations and you won't be faced with disappointment and you won't be stressed out. And if you need to handle your stress, one of the best ways is just take a little bit of time out for yourself. A great way to handle stress is exercise. Go for a brisk walk. Go for a jog. Do not derail from your regular exercise regimen. If you're a 3-time-a-week gym goer, then don't avoid that during the holidays. You need to stick with that so that you can manage your stress. So still go to the gym, get it out of the way first thing in the morning, let everybody in your family know, this is my goal, this is what I'm doing to accomplish it, and who knows, somebody may join you in the gym with you. And also approach the holidays as it's a time to spend with all of your family. It's time for people, not for food. Everybody goes into the holidays thinking, oh, the decadence, look at the indulgences. There's going to be Twinkies. Oh, no, there's not.
No more Twinkies.
There's going to be all kinds of decadent foods. I'm going to gorge. I'm going to have so much. Because that's not in keeping with your goal. So you're going to go into the holidays saying, I'm going to have quality conversations with people that I haven't seen in a long time. I'm not going to fill that silence with food. I'm not going to look for the table first thing. Every time that you pick up a plate, allow 90 seconds in between each bite. Put the fork down. Think about what you're eating. Breathe. It's all going to be okay.
Even before you take the first bite, this is an idea of what's called conscious eating. So the idea is most people, they get the plate of food, it's put in front of them, they immediately start eating. They haven't taken the time to be conscious of what it is that they are ingesting. Put the plate of food down in front of you, don't touch your fork. For 60 to 90 seconds, sit there and just take in what's in front of you. See the texture of the food. Figure out what's in there. Are those bell peppers? Mushrooms? What's going on there? Get to take in the smells of it. Be aware of what it is that you're eating. You'll enjoy it that much more, and by already slowing things down, you're already more in control of the eating.
And recognize finally that you're responsible for your reaction to other people's nonsense. They can inflict all kinds of nonsense on you, and you can blame them for inflicting that nonsense on you. But if you reacted in a way that you stuffed your face to deal with that interaction with them, that's on you. So just take responsibility for the way that you handle stress inflicted by other people. Another
great outlet, just to go back just a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, when we talk about outlets trying to get away from ones, especially since it's family gatherings or so on, there's probably going to be some young kids around. You know what? Go play a game with the kids. Go into the other room, go outside, play tag. One, you'll probably be pretty active. If you got a little nephew who's a little rough and tumbler, that's great. Roughhouse with them. That's fantastic exercise. You're relieving stress, you're not dealing with the things that bring you stress, and you're having fun doing it. You're connecting with your family members in ways that you might not be able to do normally.
And his parents will love you.
His parents will think you're great.
Yeah, you'll get an awesome gift next year. Now let's talk about indulgences. Because I'm looking at, I want that and I want that. No,
pretty good for me.
I did all this.
Right
all of that, actually.
Everyone has their indulgences.
Everyone has their indulgences. So just recognize that an indulgence is okay. We're going back to that 80-20 rule again. A 20% indulgence rate, there is nothing wrong with that. Plan an indulgence. Enjoy the indulgence. You can anticipate the indulgence. That's great. And then you'll find that you'll actually appreciate it so much more. It doesn't need to be this accidental, oh my God, I feel horrible and now I'm so guilty about it. Take responsibility for everything that goes in your mouth and recognize that you are entitled to have a 20% indulgence. But when you do fall off of the wagon, because everybody does, and everybody has those days where they ended up with a cheat day instead of a cheat meal. I have myself done the very same. Don't throw a tantrum about it. You don't need to be a 2-year-old sulking in the corner and saying to myself, oh God, I fell off the wagon and I'll never get back on. Screw it! The whole diet's over now. I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There's no need to respond this way. It is not the end of the world. Calm down. It's all fine. You don't need to wait until the next week to start your sensible eating again. If it's Wednesday and you fell off the wagon, you do not need to wait until Monday to start back on again. It's still Wednesday, it's only lunchtime, dinner's right on its heels. Be sensible at dinner.
Just be an adult.
Yeah, just don't throw a tantrum.
No tantrums.
No tantrums.
Don't be this guy.
Don't be that guy. And now we brought you, what's in the box? What's in the box? Read your ingredients. A lot of times during the holidays, we'll rely on processed foods. We'll rely on something quick and easy. You'll go to the restaurant and just order whatever. Look at what's in your food. If it has these long chemical names of things you don't know what the heck it is, and it could be anything, do not eat it. Do you know that chicken McNuggets have an anti-foaming agent in it? What's the name of it again?
It is. I have to write down because I don't know. Dimethyl polysiloxane.
Do you want to eat that? Something. That means that some guy was like mixing up the chicken slurry that goes into chicken McNuggets and was going, oh my God, this
has too much foam. I'm bringing up anti-foaming agent.
Do you want to put that in your mouth? That's disgusting. Boxed cereal. Most studies that they have done on boxed cereal show that the box that the cereal comes in is less toxic and will actually lead to fewer rat deaths than the cereal that the box contains. So just read what your ingredients are in all of the foods that you put in your mouth. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. If it has a line of ingredients that's more than 30 items, don't eat it. You're at the holidays. A lot of people prepared things homemade. This is your time to enjoy, well, maybe not the fruitcake, because who knows how many times that's been regifted.
Does anyone even enjoy fruitcake?
It made the rounds 3M. Who knows? But yeah, so avoid the fruitcake. But all the other homemade goodies, as many whole foods as possible. If you can still recognize the original plant form, it's probably okay.
When we were talking earlier about colors, again, colors found in nature, at the holiday times, a lot of times they like to make everything green and red, even if it was never intended to be green or red. So again, just be aware of the holiday treats that are more processed. A lot more goes into that, a lot more crap. So more homemade, fewer ingredients. That'll help you get through the holidays a lot easier without unwanted weight gain.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about portions. A really simple way to break down your portions is what I said earlier. If it is larger than the size of the palm of your hand, it's probably too big unless it's vegetables. So a lot of eating during the holidays is eating out. This is your opportunity when you go to the restaurant, since most restaurants serve portion sizes, as we can see here, twice of what the recommended allowance is of everything. Then a really great way to handle this is when you order your food, say to the server that you want a to-go container. When they bring the food, you'll have the to-go container. You can look at the portions then and realize this is just way too much. And pack up half of it in the to-go container, and then either another relative who wasn't able to join you guys has a meal, or you've got something for later when all that's available is fruitcake, which would be terrible.
Fantastic.
So it's just a really good way to handle portions and basically not get sucked into the restaurant portion of hell where everything is just twice as much as it should be.
We'll see in a little bit later. We've got some slides that show some calorie content of some restaurant food. And
shocking.
You might be surprised how much is actually in there. So
viewer discretion advised.
Another good tip that you want to think of is condiments and dressing, because
Yes.
frequently people will get salads and like, oh, it's going to be so healthy, I'm going to get a salad. Not so fast.
If it's dripping wet and it is just slathered in dressing, most dressing sizes, the recommended allowance in caloric count and everything, is for 2 tablespoons. What you'll often find in a restaurant is 1/4 cup of dressing. So if you're seeing your reflection in it, that's too wet. So one of the best ways that you can handle this is order all of your condiments on the side. So your dressing on the side, any sauces on the side, and then you can dispense how much is appropriate just for taste. So think if really all you're looking for is the taste of the dressing, dip your fork in, grab your food, and you're good to go. And then you got the taste with a fraction of the calories. Now, this seems like complicated. Well, first of all, you're looking at a digital image of a food log app. This is the Lose It app. I like this app. It's great for iPhone and for Android. It's a really simple way of keeping track of all of the food that you're eating. So we recommend food logs because you don't have a good sense of everything that you're putting in your mouth until you put it all pen to paper or what would this be?
Finger to
phone. Yeah. Sure, that'll work. So anyway, once you've written down everything that you're eating, especially during the holidays, because you were sitting there talking to Uncle Bob, and who knew before you were all done, the entire thing of Hershey's Kisses is now empty, and it's all in your belly.
And at work, there's always the extra dishes of candy, and somebody brought in the holiday muffins, and all these extra things that are not normally there. Again, one of the primary reasons people put on weight on the holidays is the added extra temptations, added indulgences that can be problematic.
And there can be those times when you're sitting next to somebody, they're not talking, you're not talking, and you fill the silence with just like stuffing your face. You realize with a food log how these calories really add up, and it keeps you accountable. It really makes you responsible for everything that you're eating. It also helps you track some nuances that you may notice. You may notice that like midday you're always lethargic. Well, once you start playing with what you're eating a couple of hours before then, you can really track some kind of things that are leading to being tired or not being able to sleep at night. It really helps you track like how your food's affecting you. So I highly recommend a food log. There are a few apps that I would recommend for it. He's closer to the notes, so he's going to read it.
She mentioned Lose It, MyFitnessPal, MyNet Diary, Calorie Counter, Weight Watchers Mobile, Shroomies Nutrition Menu, Spark People Diet, and Food Tracker. A couple ones that are either free or 99 cents for app on your smartphone.
And they make it super easy for you to just like scroll through, find the food group, and it'll count the calories for you and let you know where you are within your daily budget of, whether you've exceeded, you've got, another 600, so go nuts at dinner or whatever. Finally, the reason I really love a food log is liquid calories can really mount, especially during the holidays. And eggnog is just no friend to the butt and thighs. It really isn't. So
all the office parties with the punch and everything like that. Most people don't realize just how many calories they're getting in liquid form. They think because it's liquid, it doesn't count. Alcoholic drinks, extremely high in calories.
And there's one where the more color it is, the more calories it is. So if you're looking at like sex on the beach or a sunrise, you're looking like at 250 to 300 calories, depending on how gratuitous they were with the. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and before you know it, you've racked up 750 calories, maybe even 1,000. You're almost at your daily allowance, and you just don't know until you put it all down. So we highly recommend a food log. We've had a lot of people where they say, I'm eating healthy, it's all good, I don't understand why this is not working. And then I have them keep a food log for a week. Oh, lo and behold, we know exactly what the problem is.
And when you write it down, as we mentioned earlier, it does make you accountable and aware, so that when you do have all these temptations around you, knowing you're going to write it down will make you think twice about reaching for it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is something that's a little bit more advanced, and we're talking a little bit past the holidays here, but a meal plan is something you might want to consider. think of it in terms of like you wouldn't prepare your taxes if you're not a CPA. You wouldn't represent yourself in court if you're not a lawyer.
If you have no idea how to fix an engine, you're not going to try. You're going to take it to a professional auto mechanic.
If you're not sure what your calories should consist of, then hiring a certified nutritionist or a personal trainer, I would recommend a trainer who's got a nutrition degree, but hiring a certified nutritionist to prepare a meal plan for you that's customized for you. What's your basal metabolic rate? So basically, how many calories can you consume throughout the day without gaining weight? Or what's your goal? Do you need to reduce your calories so that you can meet that goal? They'll work with your goals, what your maybe timing restrictions are, what your shopping habits, when do you need to eat? Do you need to eat at your desk? So they can work with all of those restrictions.
Food allergies.
Exactly. Special needs. Maybe you're a vegan and you're wondering, how do I get my protein? So a certified nutritionist can prepare an entire meal plan for you that has shopping lists, recipes, when to eat it, how many hours in between, full coverage so that it really takes the guesswork out of what should I be eating and when. We have a meal plan service. It's available on our website, elevatedtahoe.com, but any certified nutritionist would be able to prepare an extensive meal plan for you that works just for you.
Also, then, it's probably a little late for this holiday, but next holidays, then you can have a plan of action in place where you have the meal plan in front of you. It's a lot easier to go off of that going into the holidays than to go in blind and not quite sure what you're doing.
And you might want to gift that meal plan to one of the relatives. Now, one of the really easy ways to break down what should I be eating is the 4 C's. If you think of food in terms of color, consistency, cooking method, and common sense, it makes it really simple on what should I be eating. Basically, look at me with my pale Irish skin and my freckles. If your food is the color of my skin and that's it, and it doesn't have any other colors, it's probably not that good for you. If you're talking like mashed potatoes and then the freckles are the gravy, this is not that good for you. If you're looking at a pasta dish that has no vegetables, not that varied of a nutrient spectrum. You want to have as much color in your food as possible to guarantee that you're getting a wide nutrient and vitamin spectrum.
Even within vegetables themselves, vegetables that have a deeper color tend to be more nutrient dense. So something like a kale or spinach is going to be healthier than iceberg lettuce. So other ideas there, basically think, again, the deeper the color, the better off you're going to be.
And vary. Don't be afraid of things like algae and spirulina. They're so good for you. Really deep green colors, that's just good stuff.
And the different colors do have different vitamin profiles.
Mm-hmm. And also you get a good antioxidant base. The other thing, consistency. I kind of touched on this earlier. If it's really wet, first of all, gross. But otherwise, if it's reflecting your lights, or if it's that shiny and it's that wet and it's just sauce ridden and has like a quarter cup of ranch dressing, no good. So you want to go for your food as dry as possible. There's nothing wrong with adding sauces, but be diligent and judicious in how much you apply. A better way to go about it is actually
is spices. Yes,
mm-hmm.
with consistency and sauces are added for flavor most of the time. But again, with what goes into sauces, they tend to add a lot of unnecessary calories. Spices, you can get some great flavors, some really interesting things going on with 0 added calories, 0 added bad stuff. So experiment with spices in your cooking. Try a place that is maybe more exotic in terms of food that might give you some ideas to try some new spice combinations outside of.
I don't like exotic. I just like everything that's on the bottom there. That's what I eat, is everything on the bottom. Another thing is, if your food can't decide if it's a liquid or a solid, things like Jell-O, things like pudding, things like custard, these are not things that are good for you. They're fine for your 20%, but they should not be a main staple in your diet. Cooking method. This one's common sense as well. So really, the number 3 and number 4 kind of go together. If it's fried, it's not as good for you as something that's steamed or sautéed. no one needs to tell you this. So just don't forget your common sense when you're looking at what's going to go into your mouth. Just remember, if you think to yourself, this is probably not that good for me, then it's probably not. And that's okay. It just goes into your 20%. And just keep all the rest of the 80% as clean as possible. Remember, food is fuel. Now we're going to go into the eat this, not that. Now, Dave very appropriately pointed out to me that these examples are painfully obvious. However, what we can see from some of these examples is, like on the left, you've got in the center a food that can't decide whether it's a liquid or solid. That's your first clue that it's something that's likely not that great for you. If most of the color is coming from the sauce, again, something that's not that great for you. So we've got on the right here, even though it's not all that much better than what's on the left, but still Applebee's only has so much to offer. We can see that there's a wide color variance that guarantees that we're getting a broader vitamin spectrum. And really with both of these, you need to go into it realizing that an appetizer is just supposed to be a few bites before your main entree arrives. So just you're not sitting there and everybody's listening to your stomach growl. So approaching it that way and not ordering an appetizer that is a second meal will keep you very clean on the whole 80-20.
Also the idea of sharing appetizers, because as we see when we bring this up, the calorie count of this one, the one on the left is 2,460 calories. The one on the right, 610 calories.
Now 610 calories is not doing you any favors, but split among 4 people, that's not so bad.
It's not so bad. Again, it's just enough to satiate you until the main meal comes.
Another thing to look at is it's not all about the calories. It's about what is that food consisting of, so what's it going to do to you later? Now we see the food on the right, on the left here, the appetizer, this poo-poo platter that's got absolutely everything and a bunch of sauces and things that is good that they're on the side, but they should be judiciously applied. We've got 6,150 grams of sodium. That is going to retain water for a week. So when you notice next day after eating that appetizer that you have 10 pounds of extra water weight, don't be surprised, because that's what sodium will do to you.
It's not going to do any favors for your blood pressure either.
No. And if you're diabetic, avoid. So we have another painfully obvious example of eat this, not that. But again, we have on the left a food that can't decide whether it's a liquid or solid. We have this wide variety of color on the right. There's not too much sauce. We're going to get a great bang for our buck on nutrient content, on antioxidant ability, and we're also going to be able to eat more and not have that many calories so that we're getting a good satiety from that meal on the right. And here's how we know.
When we look at the numbers, the meal on the right, 167 calories. The meal on the left, 982 calories. Now the meal on the left is a small cup of macaroni and cheese. The meal on the right is a plate this big of salad. You're going to be able to eat a lot more of the salad because fewer calories. I mean, you'd have to eat 6 plates of the salad to equal that 1 cup of macaroni and cheese.
It's just not that much bang for your buck. So you really took like a big calorie hit and didn't really get all that full. Also, the color is negligible. Again, painfully obvious. But when we look at the right, we're looking at that cooking method, and we're realizing that that shrimp sautéed is much better for you than something that's fried. We know that that rice was steamed. So we know going in with that wide color variety and that cooking method, this fits really well within the 4
You
C's.
can also tell on the right that they use more spices than sauces. Mm-hmm. On the left, salad in the sauce. On the right, more spices. Right off the bat, you know that you're in better hands with on the right.
Yeah. And then we see that calorie count, 1,450 calories on the left and 300 calories on the right. 300 calories on the right, and you can still put a dessert in your 20% column and call it a day.
And be under.
Yeah, and be under. And then finally, okay, this is probably the most obvious of all of the pictures, painfully obvious. But when we look at the right, we see that we've got healthy fats. We have whole foods. They still look like they're in their natural form. We can identify everything that the food on the right contains. We know where it came from. We know how it was grown. Maybe pesticides, but we're going to hope that there aren't, and they used organic. But other than that, this is a well-balanced, very colorful, great cooking method meal that's on the right.
What you also notice about it is again, the variety of what's there. Now, the meal on the left is the chicken fried steak with a couple of vegetables on the side. You basically have one thing, the chicken fried steak.
You got my underside here, and you got the freckles. Those are our colors.
So again, you're getting a little bit of protein there, but it's mostly going to be fat, saturated fat, especially. Now, the meal on the right, you've got chicken, so you've got some protein in there. You've got avocado, you've got healthy fat. You're seeing a lot of greens. You're seeing a lot of different colors. You know that you're getting a good mix of protein, carbohydrates, and fat that you want versus all of one thing.
Which makes me want to touch on just really fast. Good fats, healthy fats are essential. If you find that like your skin is getting dry, your nails are very brittle, you're just feeling achy all throughout the day, you need healthy fats. It helps you restore your muscles. It helps with protein synthesis. For anytime you're working out to rebuild muscle, you need those fats for the proteins to bond. So essential fats are very necessary in your diet. A low-fat diet is not doing you any favors.
Again, we see the calorie counts there.
Mm-hmm.
We're
2,084
beating a dead horse by
calories
this point.
versus 417. No-brainer.
Okay, which brings us then to the other part of staying healthy through the holidays, exercise. Now, the main thing with... That was the exercise, and you were good. The main thing with weight gain during the holidays is diet related. Mostly it's food related. So that you want to take care of that end first. But having your exercise portion of it nailed down will definitely help you maintain your weight through the holidays, if not lose weight and be stronger the entire time. Now, especially the holidays, a lot of people travel. A lot of people have tons of commitments, parties, get-togethers, shopping. So what you want
to drink.
So much booze to drink.
A lot to do.
So what you really want to focus on is getting bang for your buck. You don't want to spend. You don't want to be spending hours in the gym, or if you're traveling, the hotel gym that's the little room, down in the corner that's got a bike and a 5-pound dumbbell staring at a blank wall. That's not why you're on vacation. You don't want to be spending hours in there. So you want to be. You want to look to be efficient. Now, being efficient in your workouts is actually better for you anyway. By working out at a higher intensity for a shorter period of time, you get more benefit, which I'll talk about in just a couple minutes. In fact, I'll talk about it right now.
Yeah, talk about it right now. Why make them wait?
Why make them wait? So, again, exercise is done at high intensity for a short duration, raises what's called EPOC. EPOC being the acronym for it. That's your science term for the day.
Science term.
Yay.
Binary solo.
EPOC stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Now, what that means in normal people terms, layman's terms, there's the calories that you burn. There's what happens to your body during the workout. Your metabolism, your heart rate goes up, your metabolism gets raised. You're working hard for that period of time, be it 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Now, with a lot of workouts, for example, traditional cardiovascular workout, people would think, I'm going to ride the bike for half an hour and I'm good. That will raise your metabolism up, but after that half hour, once your heart rate returns back to normal, your metabolism turns back to normal as well. So therefore, for the rest of the day, the other 23 hours of the day, your metabolism is at its normal level. Now, when you do exercises that raise your EPOC, now exercises like resistance training, weightlifting, higher intensity intervals, sprints, things like that, that EPOC will raise your metabolism, not just when you're working out, but keep it raised throughout the entire day, anywhere from, studies have shown, from 12 to up to 36 hours beyond the workout, your metabolism will actually stay raised. So you're not only burning calories during the workout, you're burning calories all through the rest of the day, those other 23 hours, and that's how you really get the most bang for your buck. So it is scientifically proven, when we talk about getting the most bang for your buck, it is scientifically proven that interval training is more effective for building and maintaining speed, strength, power, volume of oxygen uptake, basically how efficiently your body is utilizing oxygen, and fat loss. Now again, a lot of people think when they're working out in general, and especially during the holidays, that they'll just do a little bit of cardio or they'll do some moderate moderate level intensity. What we look at, and what you can see here in the picture, is we have two Olympic athletes. The man on the right is an Olympic marathon runner. The man on the left is an Olympic sprinter. Now you can just look at their body types. You can already see the differences in it. They're both elite athletes. They're both very good at their sport. But you basically look at it and you think, okay, which one probably has an easier time in the rest of his life? Who can carry a heavy box upstairs? Who can carry groceries in from the car? Who can play with his nephew who's 100 pounds and kind of strong and be okay? What we look at is the person who does more of the higher intensity work will have sort of a broader range of strength and skills to be able to draw upon. The acronyms we look at here is what's called HIIT, H-I-I-T, High Intensity Interval Training, which is the man on the right, which is more that high intensity, shorter duration. Or we have, oddly enough, called MISS, Moderate Intensity Steady State, your typical cardiovascular workout that most people do. Your typical marathon, where it's one speed maintained throughout. Your heart rate's not, you raise your heart rate up and then it kind of maintains that one. Most people, when they go to the gym or when they're on vacation, thinking, okay, I'll do my 30 minutes there. That's what they're usually doing. And again, metabolically, that's really not doing you that many favors, to be perfectly honest.
And as a female and as a former runway model, my goal was always the left. I was always worried about being skinny and not realizing that actually there wasn't much functional strength there. And even, it was written in my contract that calorie restriction was just ridiculous, 950 calories at first, and then I was jumped down to 750 calories. That is no way to live. And that's how you're staying skinny. This is not good for the body. I was not as healthy, I was not as strong, I was not as fit as I am now. And honestly, I think I look better.
She does look better. I will attest to this. We're engaged, by the way, if you didn't know. And she is leaner now and stronger now that she's doing more of the higher intensity work than she was ever before doing the more medium intensity.
Yeah, still wear the same clothing size, but what my body consists of is so much healthier. So lower body fat percentage, higher muscle mass. I weigh more, but what that consists of is muscle. So that's fine. I don't get obsessed with what's on the scale. I worry about how my clothes fit.
And you can just basically also ask yourself, when we talk about getting bang for your buck, what would you rather be doing? Would you rather be on a bike in one spot for 30, 45, 60 minutes, doing that, or doing, say, a circuit of bodyweight exercises that you can be done in 20 minutes and get twice the benefit? Bang for the buck.
Yeah. Also, the first one's boring.
Part 2 is training for your goal. Now, we spoke earlier with the nutrition is having a goal in the first place, setting your goal down. Now, some people may have something specifically working towards, others it may be more general goal. Again, you could approach the holidays. If you don't have one, make your goal of, okay, I'm going to at least maintain where I'm at. Once you have that goal, though, you want to train specifically for that goal. Now, a lot of people, again, they will, especially on vacation, they won't necessarily have that goal in mind. They won't necessarily train appropriately. Now, today we're mostly presenting for fat loss during the holidays, which is what most people, the majority of people that come into gyms, the majority of people that come to us, that's what they're really looking for, be it the holidays or normal, is they want to get leaner, they want to get tighter, they want the clothes to fit better, they want to lose weight. So that's what we're presenting on and gearing towards. Now, you may have that may not be your primary goal. You may have slightly different goals. You may want to work more on your conditioning. If that's the case, then doing the high intensity intervals, anaerobic training, that's going to be more what you're going to work towards. If you're looking to get stronger, increase your strength, you're going to want to be doing more resistance training, pick up heavy weights.
But again, neither of those are steady state. And even if you're a marathon runner, you will increase your conditioning and your VO2, or your oxygen consumption, by doing sprints. You still need to do some of that steady state work, but unless you're a marathon runner, it just doesn't make sense.
So again, it's that idea of figure out what your goal is and train for that goal specifically. That's what's going to get you the best results during the holidays and otherwise. So now a lot of people, during the holidays and when they're traveling, they think that where people run into the problem is they take the approach of the activity I'm doing here on my vacation, that's going to be enough. We're here in Tahoe. People come up here all the time to go skiing and think, okay, I'm going to be on the hill for the next couple hours. That's enough exercise for the day. That's great. That's a great start. But honestly, that's really not all that much. Most of that time is spent on a chairlift sitting down. The rest of the time you're standing, you're moving, but it's not exactly load bearing. You're not lifting your weights. Your heart rate's not getting that elevated. You'll be a little bit tired by the end of the day, but be aware
it's more
that
fatigue than it is actual muscle gain
exactly.
or
So
conditioning gain.
It's more, you want to have the energy for the activities you're doing, by all means, but keep in mind once again what your goal is. And
don't get derailed from it. Even though you're on vacation, always keep your goal in mind.
So train accordingly. So, as we said earlier, a lot of people when they're on vacation, they just think to do cardio. They just think, okay, I'll just go, I'll ride the bike that's there in the hotel gym for half an hour, and that'll be enough. I'll get it over with. Now, again, if you love doing cardio, if you love going out for runs, if you love riding your bike, fantastic. Keep doing that. That's awesome. That's great. If you're doing it just to do it, or you think you have to, or it's just so you don't miss a step, there are better ways of doing it. There are more efficient ways of doing it. Bang for the buck. You may have heard this before.
Bang for the buck. Bang for the buck.
And so the main thing that we look at in terms of what's better is what's referred to as sometimes MRT, or metabolic resistance training. The idea behind this is using resistance training, be it weights, be it body weight, be it band speed, some kind of resistance to strengthen your body, but do it in a style where you're really revving up your metabolism to really rev up the fat loss. In the hierarchy of fat loss, of all the different things you can do, MRT, metabolic resistance training, is number one. Then you would have the high intensity intervals, several spaces down the list when you would have your normal steady state cardio, but actually just above kind of walking and normal everyday activities. So if you're looking to lose weight during the holidays, cardio is one of the later things you should be doing. Resistance training will help you much, much more so during the holidays. Now, what makes resistance training metabolic in nature is the idea of focusing on compound movements. What I mean by that is more than one joint moving. A lot of people, when they go to the gym, they think of doing isolation moves, bicep curls, sitting on a machine and doing a leg extension, tricep extension, things like that. Those are all fine. There's nothing wrong with those. However, you realize you're working one muscle at a time. Now, when we think bang for the buck time-wise, so to get every muscle in your body, you have to do 8, 10, 12, 15 different exercises.
Why, that could take 10 hours.
10 hours. Who has time?
Who has that kind of time? There's shrinking to do.
So by focusing on multi-joint movements, you then get more muscles involved. The more muscles you have involved, the more calories you're burning. So instead of just doing a leg extension where it's just my quadricep, if I do a squat type motion, I have my quadricep, my hamstrings, my glutes, my calves, my inner, my outer thigh, my core. Suddenly, so many more things are involved.
Squat to a press.
But really that, exactly. So so you're looking to do compound movements, usually one right after another. In some kind of circuit. If you need to take a few seconds rest in between, fine, but doing some kind of circuit where you keep your heart rate elevated, so you're getting that cardiovascular element of it, your heart rate staying elevated for the entire 20, 30, 40 minutes, however long you're doing it, but you're getting your strength in at the same time, you're keeping your metabolism raised, you're keeping that EPOC going throughout the whole rest of the day. As Bridget touched on, another great way of doing it is combining moves, of thinking upper and lower by the same time. So if a person is doing lunges, for example, that's a great exercise. Grab some weights, do lunges into a curl press, you just gave yourself that much better of an exercise. You're getting your whole body involved, upper body, lower body, core is involved, you're burning more calories with each move, and again, by doing so, you're raising your metabolism up to last longer.
And Dave, wouldn't that be some of that functional training
that
we've
would
been hearing about?
Functional training that
I've been hearing a lot about that
exactly,
functional training.
Exactly.
Tell us more.
So with a lot of these moves, they mimic moves in real life. Again, you look at a lot of machines in the gym, you never do that particular move. You're never sitting down doing this ever in life except in a gym. So if you look at moves you do during your everyday life, for example, picking up bags of groceries, picking up a heavy box,
wriggly kid,
wrestling a wriggly kid, or your dog,
herding cats,
herding cats, if that's what your thing.
Good.
She herds cats.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's awesome. It's a great workout.
So you just want to think of the things that you do in life and find ways of mimicking that in your workouts. Now, again, that could be bodyweight exercises. That can be some of these implements we'll talk about in a little bit. However you want to do it, it just makes it a little more functional for life. That's the idea of functional training, is how does it relate to what your goal is, be it life, sport, whatever.
You'll find you'll break down less and you'll have a higher quality of life when you're older, not unlike this 82-year-old on the right
yes,
who's
82
saying,
and
I'm 82, what's your excuse?
she's lifting a lot of more weight than people a third of her age
she
can do.
is officially a badass.
Now, a lot of people also, when they travel and during the holidays, people feel limited by the options they have. Again, the hotel gym just has a bike and a couple of weights.
And they didn't have the 10-pounders.
Yes, they only have the 5-pounders, the pink 5-pounders. Or I'm staying at my parents' house and they don't have anything.
Huh.
Get creative with what you have around you. Use, again, your body, that's all you really need is your body. There's plenty of exercises that you can do. Push-ups, squats, lunges, jumping, wrapping a towel around a door and doing pull-ups, things like this. These are all things that you can do just with your body. Get creative with implements. Use chairs, use a towel, use your suitcase that you brought with you. All these different things can really be used in great ways. A lot of them fall, because they're kind of awkward, picking up a chair is not the most natural thing in the world. What that actually falls into is the idea of what's called odd object training. Now this is, a lot of people have had a lot of success using this. The idea being
A lot of athletes.
A lot of athletes, a lot of actors you see really ripped for various roles. They got that way doing a lot of odd object training. The idea being that most weights and exercises that the typical things you would find, it's a nice handle with weights evenly distributed on both sides. You're sitting in a nice comfortable chair while you press the weight along. That doesn't make your body is only working like in one very specific way. When it's a little bit odd, it's moving a little bit weird, your body has to adapt to that. So if you take something, for example, like a sandbag, where as you pick it up, the weight is shifting and moving as you're moving it, your muscles the whole time have to be working. Your core muscles have to be engaged. Your legs, everything has to always be on to be able to handle that shifting, moving weight. So the fact that it's kind of odd and clunky is actually a good thing. So having your suitcase that's full of stuff and moves around and using that as a weight is great. Picking up a chair, again, grabbing your nephew and pressing him over your head. That's going to be a fantastic workout, but having that odd object.
And he'll think it's a heck of a lot of fun, too.
And also, when you think about carrying over into life, when we talk about that functional training, how odd and awkward is some holiday things. Carrying your skis, your kids' skis, their helmet, their boots, lunch for the day, all this stuff. You see all the time with people coming out from shopping trips with bags of gifts under one arm, the kid under this arm, he's wriggling, they're getting the keys and so on. That's life.
A lot of injuries happen that way. People twist their ankles, they'll slip and fall and break a hip. I mean,
life is odd.
Training for that is
life is odd and awkward. So training in odd, awkward ways will help you with life. So don't be afraid of things that are a little bit out of the norm to work into your workouts.
And one of the things I found as an aquatherapist working with stroke victims and paralysis and everything in the pool is when you work with something that the body's not used to, you create new neural pathways. And this is a great way to stave off Alzheimer's, to keep your synaptic activity as crisp as possible. You'll find that you have less memory loss, that you can think faster. When you work left and right hemispherically, this is great for your synaptic activity. So from a neurological standpoint, this is the way that you should be training if you want a high quality of life as you get older.
Now, we mentioned earlier you can do a lot with just your body weight, various things you have around. We have a few things with this that we brought today that we want just to highlight. Now, these are products that we don't sell. We're in no way affiliated. We're not trying
No
kickbacks. We're not trying to sell you guys something here. These are just products that we have found both in our own workouts and with our clients and at Elevated Fitness that are extremely effective. They travel well. They take up little to no space. It gives you so many more workout options when you are traveling that you can, again, get a great 20-minute workout in with just this one implement. So a couple of them are, first off, I mentioned earlier a sandbag. This is made by a company called Ultimate Sandbags. This is probably my favorite implement that we use. So it's nothing fancy. It's a bag full of sand. Now they also make models. This particular model, for example, is actually full of water. It's got a water bag inside of here. So this is great for travel. You empty the water bag out. You fold it up. You put it in your luggage. When you get wherever you are, you fill that water bag back up. You put it back in.
On the hotel scale, you'll know how many pounds it is.
Exactly. It goes. They have anywhere from 20 to 60, 80 pound ones, depending upon the size. Again, when this is empty, this just folds up like a t-shirt. takes up no more space than that. But this will give you a chance to do all kind of very cool, dynamic moves while you're wherever you are. Again, you don't need anything more than a few feet of space to work it. We love the Ultimate Sandbag. We highly recommend it. They're not very expensive either. Another tool that's very cool that we use quite a bit, these are called ballast slides. And they were made by a woman named Valerie Waters. They're just flat pieces of plastic with a little pad on it. If you want to demonstrate.
Sure.
Doing it on a carpet or something, it slides very easily. So doing, again, body weight exercises, sliding in and out on the feet. You get your hands on it, doing push-ups, planks, whatever. It makes for a very different way of working out, very cool way that most people aren't used to.
Look, I'm packed.
And again, you see, they take up zero space in your luggage. Have at it. Now, if you have this plus your sandbag, all kinds of cool stuff you can do. So you can start combining.
Magic can happen.
Magic, I tell you. There are pieces of equipment out there that fall into the category of what's called suspension training, where you're just using your own body weight, but you use these straps that are usually suspended up above on a door. If you have a loop or something, you can loop it. So you suspend it there, and then you're doing body weight exercises. For example, push-ups, lunges, different things like that, where it can be either really easy or really, really hard, depending upon where you set your body. This brand is called Jungle Gym, made by Lifeline, called the Jungle Gym XT. We like this one a lot. TRX is another brand that's very, very good. Again, $100, $180, something like that.
And you've got
Quite
a full
expensive.
gym right in your
You can literally do hundreds of exercises with all of these ones. You can literally do hundreds of different exercises wherever you are.
Our last vacation, we didn't actually have enough room for the sandbags. Actually, the last vacation we did take sandbags.
Yeah.
The vacation before that, we took TRX, or our jungle gyms, and we had a full week's worth of workouts just with one implement. It was great.
It was great. And then the one that a lot of people overlook, the classic jump rope. This guy is great. Again, takes up no space in this. In terms of when we're talking about conditioning work, this is great. Doing, really fast jumps, changing up your cadence, changing up the style that you're doing, high knees, alternating feet, double unders, whatever it is you're doing. Fantastic conditioning exercise that takes up zero room in your bag. All you need is maybe 3-4 feet of space around you, and you're good to go. So these are just a couple of things that, like I said, you don't have to be limited by the hotel gym or by what your parents have in their basement or by anything like that, or trying to find a gym close by to wherever you're staying. Take these things with you, work them out. You guarantee you'll have you'll get a great workout. You'll be able to keep the holiday pounds off, and you have fun doing it.
And another style in which you can use some of these implements, like a jump rope, is something that's called Tabata training. Want to tell them about Tabata?
Tabata training falls into the category of, again, the high-intensity intervals. The idea being you do 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds. So you would jump rope as fast as you can for 20 seconds, rest for 10. 20 seconds, 10. You do that 8 times for 4 minutes per exercise. Now, this is this is extremely intense. It's meant to be full-on 20 seconds. It's not a light little 20 and then rest. It's basically all out effort for 20 seconds. Now, you can do that with push-ups. You can do that with jump rope. You can do that with jump squats.
Just squatting in place.
Squatting in place. Any move, just is doing as fast as you can for those 20 seconds, really pushing it. Rest for 10. Do that 8 times, 4 minutes total. Fantastic workout. Do 3-4 exercises with that. Again, it takes maybe 15 minutes total to do. You will be, believe me, you'll be feeling it. You'll be ready to go to bed. So
there are even some timer apps that you can download, iPhone, Android, that will keep track of that time for you and do like a double beep or a single beep, letting you know when your rest interval is up. So something like that can kind of keep you on track for your timing, so you're not always counting down.
Yes, so those are, again, great ways to keep yourself on track and steady while you're on vacation. And that's pretty much what we have for today.
So have a great holiday. Remember your 4 C's when you're eating, and manage your stress as appropriately as possible. And remember, what everybody does to you, you're not responsible for. But how you react to, That's what you're responsible for.
Look to get bang for your buck with both food and your exercise, both in terms of time and effort. That's what's really going to help you through the holidays the best. And beyond the holidays, put you on a nice, good life path to a healthy lifestyle where you're not having to diet, you're not having to do anything crazy. You're just healthy in general.